Alliance Insight releases to the TCG May 2nd of 2025 and includes a host of legacy support for fan-favorite archetypes like Cyber Dragon and Six Samurai. Introduces the brand new archetype Regenesis, which takes inspiration from the Torah, and of course brings to the TCG the first wave of Dragon Ruler support in years. While I'm very excited for many of the releases in this set, today I'm going to take a look at a handful of cards that, while maybe not good enough to ascend the heights of competitive play, are more than interesting enough to find a place on your kitchen table. Join me as I seek to prove once again that real Yu-Gi-Oh! Takes place in the bulk bin. Let's get into the video. The first card on our list today is Dragon's Mind, a counter trap card with an effect that reads, when a spell, trap card, or monster effect is activated and you control a monster with 2500 original attack or defense, negate the activation, and if you do, destroy that card. Additionally, the card has a graveyard effect that states, if this card is in your grave, you can pay 2500 life points, set this card, but banish it when it leaves the field. Each of these effects is usable as a hard once per turn. This is one of the most flexible negates on a counter trap that we've ever seen. While it doesn't negate summons like Solemn Strike or Judgment, it does meet the two in the middle, while providing spell, trap, and monster effect negation. An incredibly versatile trap card that allows you to reset itself at spell speed 2, since trap cards in grave are always spell speed 2, even if it's a counter trap. So why won't we be seeing a card like this in sideboards at YCSs across the country? I'm sure you noticed, but the effect is only live if you control a monster with 2500 original attack or defense. Ouch. This is reflected in the card art, which depicts the normal monster CRU, an old promotional card with 2500 attack, and the flavor text, a mystical dragon that burns away the unworthy with its mystical flames. Presumably what it's doing in the card art of Dragon's Mind. While this does prevent the card from being generic, 2500 is still a very popular stat line, and the flexibility between defense or attack means that this is usable in Dark Magician, Goblin Biker, and the new Regenesis, as all their monsters have 2500 attack. One of the cooler design counter traps that we've seen in a while, almost like Champion's Vigilance, but better. The second card I'd like to take a look at today is not only an interesting piece of pack filler, but also solid life advice for us all. Do It Early, Do It Together is a quick play spell with the effect where, if you do not have Do It Early, Do It Together in your face-up field, graveyard, or banishment, you can banish the top 7 cards of your deck face down, and your opponent then banishes 7 cards from their extra deck and or the top of their deck face down. While many of you may, like myself, be immediately drawn to the notion of banishing nearly half of your opponent's extra deck face down, the fact that your opponent gets to choose between ED or main deck means that they will nearly always be choosing main deck. A single card that banishes 7 from the top of your opponent's deck could potentially see play in a strategy like Runic Stun, which is already capable of generating so much advantage that they could theoretically spare the -1 in order to hasten their opponent's deck out. While the activation condition implies that this card is meant to be played at 1 copy per deck, it actually pairs nicely with the card to which it is a continuation, In Papa's Footsteps, which allows you to banish cards from your graveyard face down, and reset the condition for Do It Early, Do It Together. The two cards depict a short, heartwarming story of a father and his son, the perfect charming counterpart to an otherwise wholly degenerate runic strategy. Alright, well, it wouldn't be one of these lists if I didn't do the thing that you're all expecting and cover yet another piece of generic dinosaur support. I can't get enough of these things, and I hope that Konami never stops making them. Ferociously Angered Sabersaurus is the first monster that we'll cover today, and is a fire dinosaur Xyz monster with 2000 attack and 600 defense for some reason, and a summoning condition of any 2 level 4 monsters. This card has 2 effects, each of which is usable as a hard once per turn. The first allows you to detach 1 material from this card to destroy 1 dinosaur in your hand or face-up field, and then you can change the battle position of 1 monster on a field. The second allows you to, at the start of the damage step, if your other dinosaur monster battles, to destroy this card, and if you do, increase the attack of that dinosaur by 2000 until the end of the battle phase. We are never getting away from popping the baby. It's going to be 2055, we're going to be dingus summoning from our microtransaction deck, and still dinosaurs are going to be popping the baby, summoning Oviraptor, banishing Giant Rex. I don't know how many pieces of support a single deck can receive that continue to do literally the same thing, but I'm here for it. I love that there are still decks like Dinosaur and Amazonas that continue these down-to-earth playstyles. On the card more specifically, it pops baby. If it's the only monster you control, you can summon it in defense position and then change its battle position position, or if you have a Dirac Egg token on your field, you can just make that all nice and vulnerable. It can boost your UCT to obscene levels of damage, and more importantly, it looks so damn cool. The art definitely matches the name. The only justification for that defense value I can find is that the original Sabersaurus was 1900-500, and they boosted the attack by 100, so might as well boost the defense by 100? Yeah, that's all I got. Okay, now time for the first card on this list that I believe to be genuinely, truly busted. I do not understand how this card can't see competitive play. Brain Controller is a level 1 Dark Psychic tuner with 100 attack and 200 defense, and a host of effects, each usable as a hard once per turn. If this card is normal or special summoned, you can add a Brain Control from your deck to your hand. If you pay life points, you can target one face-up monster on the field that has a level and declare a level from 1 to 8. It becomes that level. If this card is sent to the grave as synchro material, you can special summon this card to your opponent's field in defense position, but you negate its effects. This card is ridiculous. Special summonable a dozen different ways, including the obvious emergency teleport. Brain Controller immediately goes +1 on summon by searching Brain Control, a board breaker that admittedly isn't incredibly strong in the modern era, but who knows, man. Allowing a card like this to be easily accessible has allowed way worse cards to see play in the past. Then, if you pay life points, which every deck has numerous ways to do in the modern era, you can target any monster on the field that has a level, including itself, and change its level from 1 to 8. Also, it's a tuner. Psychic decks pay life points by breathing, so this effect is basically free. Even if you don't have a built-in way to pay life points, the card you search off this guy pays 800 as its activation cost. Brain Controller doesn't lock you into synchro summoning either, so on top of its vast synchro flexibility, it enables an impossibly large assortment of Xyz plays as well. The effect to summon itself to your opponent's field, if used as synchro material, essentially exists to give you a target to Brain Control going first, which is diabolical. I love this card. I love Psychic Life Point Degeneracy. Will this work in Punk? Probably not, but I'm going to play with it for sure. The final card we're going to cover today is an absolute house, one of the more interesting synchro monsters we've seen in a while. Jorah, the Cursed Thunder Deity, is a level 11 Earth Psychic synchro monster with 3100 attack, 3100 defense, and 2 effects. The first is a continuous ability that states, each time your opponent activates a card or effect, gain 300 life points immediately after it resolves. The second effect is usable as a hard once per turn and allows you to, during your opponent's turn, as a quick effect, pay 1500 life points and tribute this card to either destroy all face-up monsters your opponent controls or destroy all spell or trap cards your opponent controls. Finally, an interesting alternative to Psychic End Punisher as a level 11 synchro end board piece. While Pep can usually be trusted to stick it out until your next turn, its lack of quick effect disruption means it's just a gigantic tower. Hard to remove, but definitely doesn't help you much till turn 3. Jorah represents quick effect destruction of your opponent's face-up field or back row. That can be devastating. And the fact that this effect doesn't specify this synchro summoned card means that if you have a way to bring Jorah back from the grave on following turns, you can recycle this powerful destruction. The continuous ability to gain 300 life points whenever your opponent does basically anything is absolutely devious for time scenarios. Although most Psychic decks are admittedly going to be paying down most of their precious life points to the point where maybe it won't matter much. In a deck like Gold Pride, this card can even be held as a surprise, getting your opponent to commit to setting back row or building a board before quick synchroing using Leon and a level 8 like Nitro Heat or Eradicator. All in all, I'm very excited to try and find space in the extra for this card. I'm very excited for Alliance Insight. While I recognize that the set probably isn't going to be the most significant competitively, I'm a sucker for legacy support and interesting cardboard, and I think that it will provide more than enough of both. If you're disappointed that I didn't cover the new Dragon Ruler cards in today's video, make sure you subscribe and keep an eye on your notifications. You never know what's up next. Thank you all for watching. I hope that you guys have a great day. Remember to wash behind your ears.